Hi guys! Well, today I'm going to create a speaker shelf system with LED lights for my home theater room. I'm Linn, and this is the Darbin Orvar channel. Welcome to my living room, aka home theater room. As you can see, this room is mostly focused on books and watching movies and TV shows. And I picked up some new rear speakers. And I thought it would be perfect if I could get those up on the walls behind the chairs. And that made me think I need to get the center speaker up on the shelf below the TV. I'm really going for a home theater feeling here. So the first thing I did was to sew some curtains to block this space from the dining room, which is going to become a makerspace pretty soon. It's amazing what a change you can really make with fabric. It really made a huge difference in terms of the feel. And you can really get it super dark when watching movies, which is always nice. The other thing is I wanted more balanced lighting, and I thought it would be great if I could integrate some lighting into these speakers and add more kind of a balanced feel in between the front and the back. For this project, I'm using some sapele mahogany, which is just beautiful. I feel like there's not a whole lot of wood in this room, so I was really going for darker shelves to kind of anchor the space. However, this would also be a great opportunity to use pine and stain it for a darker effect. I first worked the wood, resawed it, planed it. First with the machine, and then I also planed the sides to glue up by hand. I did two glue ups here. First the wood for the mantle, which is thick, then the wood for the back shelves, which is thinner. And here I'm actually gluing two boards together twice using the same clamps. So that piece is not actually that wide. Let's talk about design for a minute. For the back shelves, I really love the idea of a sconce, because it's not just like a shelf that you barely don't see. It's like a back and a shelf, and I really like that. I was debating about how to connect these two pieces together. So I decided to go for a sliding dovetail, because it's really strong, plus it's just a very elegant joint. For this I'm using the router table. And once the two pieces are routed, one slips into the other. I was thinking about the lighting, and I'm using LED strips, so I decided to route a groove to hold the lights in place on the shelf. And I'm just raising the bit up like 1/8 of an inch, so a shallow cut. So that fits two strips pretty good. The wood for the sconces was a little lighter in color than the mantelpiece. So I did a test and first just finished it with wax. And then I also tried a stain to see which one I liked the best. And I thought the stain was a little nicer. For the front center speaker, I really wanted more of a thicker piece of wood, more of a mantle style. Kind of rustic and very substantial. I want the wood to really be in focus, and I don't want anything too decorative. So after going over a couple of different options, I decided to make a simple back connected to matching support pieces. So the back will be screwed into the studs and the top will be screwed into the back piece. Now the shelf will lean onto the brackets automatically because of the weight, so no need to screw those in place to the top. When I had that in place, I marked out the studs. Then put it up on the wall to see if I like the concept. This wood is pretty dense to drill through, but it's really a very simple design, which I like. I actually decided to cut back the support brackets a little bit so they don't stick out as far. I need to cut a groove out in the back for the wires to slip through. So the shelf is going to be here, and I'm gonna have shelves over there. Then there's going to be lighting on both sides, and I'm gonna have the wire go all over the place. But you know, I'm thinking about how to hide those wires because I don't want them all over the place. So I wonder if anyone has any thoughts on that.
Hey, how are you, Lynn? Well, this looks like a really cool project, and there's a few things you can do here. Often, if I'm running a small line like a Cat5 line or a phone line, and I don't want to go into the walls, I'll use one of those special staple guns that shoots a U-shaped staple and staple the wire right on top of the baseboard or the casing, paint it in, and it'll practically disappear. But an even easier solution, and since your moldings are white, you could probably get away with just using white wire and white electrical tape and tape the wire to the molding and no one will ever see it. I hope that helps, and good luck with the project.
That's a good idea, John. I like that. For those who don't know, that's John Peters. He's got a great channel here on YouTube where he builds all kinds of projects. If you don't know him, definitely check him out. I'll put a link in the description below. But yeah, I like that. I think I'm gonna go the tape route and hide those wires. That's a great idea. Thanks for that, John.
No problem, Lynn, anytime.
Okay, so let's go into the lighting. Now, in order to illuminate these shelves, I decided to go for 12-volt colored LED strips that are all connected so they can be controlled with one remote. The lights come with a 60-watt AC/DC adapter and the remote. Now, I want the lights to shine both up and down for a more balanced look. So here I'm working on attaching the strips to a piece of thin aluminum. I find the strips attach better to that than the wood, plus any heat will be dispersed as well. And I'm planning on doing the same concept for the sconces. Here you can see the underside of the large shelf and the receiver for the lights. I've got some holes drilled through the brackets for the wires to go through. For each light section I'm having 2 strips, so soldering the 2 strips together, and there are 4 to solder, since this is a colored strip. And of course testing to make sure it's connected. To protect the wires, I'm just adding some electrical tape. And I'm feeding all the wires into this plug barrier strip, which makes it a little easier to connect right. I tried to make that mess a little neater with tape, but it's kind of messy still. So I just put the shelf up here after putting on the lights, and I'm still in testing mode here, and I'm just kind of see if I liked it. And there are definitely a couple of things that I don't really love. First of all, I don't really like the lights underneath here pointing downwards. I think it creates this weird kind of look. So I think I'm going to remove the underneath lights and only have the upper ones kind of casting above. And I also think I might want to lower the whole shelf a little bit. So it's kind of cool, but yeah, I think I'm gonna make those changes. So I'm really happy I did that test because turns out I didn't like it. Of course, it would have been a little easier if I hadn't wired up everything underneath to begin with, but you know, whatever. After I removed the bottom light section, this became a lot neater. Now, there's no reason to have any wires underneath now. I also added a switch on the corner so that I could possibly shut off the light to the mantle and only have the sconces lit up behind here, if I wanted to. And to solder this switch in, I'm using this portable Dremel torch, which is kind of cool. Now, the sconces have lighting above and below, and I'm doing the same design as for the big shelf. Attaching the LEDs to aluminum strips. And to make it easier, I have the wires feeding into this plug barrier system here, which makes the system more modular, so I can add more units in the future if I want to. And it also allowed me to solder smaller wires directly to the LED strip while going over the longer distances with larger wire. Now, to assemble everything, I screwed the shelves to the wall through the studs. And then I wired everything up. And I used a lot of wire. Remember, I need 4 wires per connection point because of the colored LEDs. So all in all, I probably used like 250 feet of wire or like 70 meters, give or take. I'm also running speaker wire. And I'm attaching everything to the molding with some white tape, like John Peters suggested. So that really hid it very well, and I ended up using quite a bit of tape as well. I think like a roll and a half, white duct tape. Now it's fine that some of the wire is exposed. This is very low voltage, so it's not a problem at all. So the whole point here was to create a nice theater room where you have balanced lighting on both sides, which can be controlled from a single point. I love the sconce concept because it combines the practical concept of a shelf with like a lighting fixture, so you get both in one design, which I think is really cool. I must say too, I really like the center speaker shelf so much better after I removed the underneath lighting, and I also lowered it a little bit for more balance. Now, this is something I always wanted. I always imagined having my own theater room, and now with the sewing, the electronics, and the woodworking, I was able to create this whole situation where I have balanced lighting that can be changed depending on the mood or the movie, and the sound is really great as well. And I can only imagine what this would have cost if I had hired somebody to set up this whole system. And that's what makes it so cool that you can DIY something like this. And what really makes that possible are the LED strips, which are really easy to work with. So I am very happy about this, and now I can't wait to relax and watch some of my favorite movies in my new comfortable home theater room. What movies, you ask? I'm thinking Midnight in Paris, V for Vendetta, Amelie, The Man Who Would Be King, Lawrence of Arabia as well, Zero Effect, The Dark Knight, Ex Machina, Dial M for Murder, Dogville, The Royal Tenenbaums, oh, anything Tennessee Williams, pretty much anything Ingmar Bergman too, Beauty and the Beast, Sleeping Beauty as well. Yeah, that's going to be great. Now, if you enjoy this kind of talking to the camera, you should definitely check out my Patreon campaign, because every week I do a private vlog where I kind of talk like this to the camera about what I'm doing and what I'm thinking about. And I've actually been doing this for, like a year and a half now, so there's like a ton of vlogs to go back to. I'll leave a link to my Patreon campaign in the description if you're interested in that. I'll also leave links to the products that I used in this project, as well as to John Peters. Make sure to check out his channel. He does so many great projects. I think that's about it. Yes, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.